and welcome into WHF Tier 1. You're here with me, WHF Faro, and Daikon for comms here today, and we're here in round 9 in the Netherlands. But welcome in, Daikon, your second commentary with us. You can give the viewers a bit of an information of how the last race went in Hungary. It was a bit of a chaotic one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say that very chaotic start. Specifically, the championship leader and his nearest rival at the time, Rio Harris, collided before heading into turn 1. And alongside with that, we had 4 safety cars that race. Nis won that race pretty dominantly, I would say, and it was very crazy, to be honest. 4 safety cars, 1 race, absolutely insane for my first race as well.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the most chaotic race we've seen all season in terms of safety cars. I don't think any race has come close to that, and to see it from Tier 1 is a bit surprising, but we do have Zampa out on a lap here. I had Pole in Tier 2 Canada, and here in Tier 1, what can Zampa do on his first Tier 1 appearance this season? For Daikon, you don't know, and maybe some of the viewers might not know, but Zampa was the original creator of the league. It started back in 2020 by the name of SSR, and then had a rebranding in 2023 where it changed to WHF, and Zampa was the creator of it all. That's why he's named SSR Zampa.
Interesting. Yeah, it's great to see some league owners that have such a passion that they stay with their original leagues as well. We see so many just disappear off the face of the earth after a while. It's good to see that some still stay dedicated.
Yeah, well, Zampa certainly tried to disappear, but we couldn't let him leave, so he's still here. Thank you for the follow, Mario Glock. Welcome into the stream. And for those of you who are listening in, we're not too far off 1,000 followers, so if you do want to hit the follower button, or the follow button, please do, because we're not far away. But Zampa with a 1:10.029 is the quickest time so far, as Ollie, Season 3 WHF champion, will be next around in the McLaren and up to the line. It's a 9.6 for Ollie. Nuki Lad, who's Tier 3 reserve, is actually up here in Tier 1 reserving. He was a former actual Tier 1 driver, as Stevens joined late. I actually missed that Steven hadn't even got in yet. But we should have 18 as Gordon. Won the finale in Season 4. And won the penultimate round of the season, or won the race in the penultimate round of the season last season. But Gordon has yet to really have a strong campaign this season, not been close to winning, as Kevin Kell up to P2, Tier 2 champion in Season 4, as Liam into P4 as well. We've got TJ very, very close to Gordon, just half a tenth off his Echo, with a 9.0 quickest time so far. And I'm sure we'll see some of the drivers in the 8s after long. We've got Rio Harris and Hemi Dimes and Nasev, who I'd say is the top 3 favourites here today. The Alpine driver who has multiple wins to his name this season. What can he do? I'm assuming it'll be an 8. But how low of an 8 it'll be? It's an 8.425, and it's already 6/10 clear of Echo. Meanwhile, I think Rio Harris and Hemi Dimes are the only 2 real competitors you could see getting anywhere close to that in this time. Rio Harris on Tuesday had a race in PFRL that I was commentating and actually got an 8.4 for pole, but considering an 8.4 is Naseb's banker, that is going to be a tough lap to beat, as Hemi up to the line. It's an 8.820. Next, it's Rio Harris rounding the final corner, as there's someone coming to the line ahead of them. I think they're coming into the box, but Rio with DRS enabled now. What can the Mercedes driver do? Can he challenge for pole here? It's almost an identical time. He's 25 thousandths off Nasev, and that is a great start for Rio Harris. So close to Nasev here. We've also got Nuki and Ty Clear on another lap, but a very close qualifying so far between Nasev and Rio, would you say?
Yeah, I would say the times are very close. Well, I would say the top 2 times are very close. Then it's kind of spread out amongst the field, but yeah, it's good to see. So yeah, slowest time is a 1:10. Let me check that. 1:10.5 at the moment is the slowest time, and that is Nuki, who is the Tier 3 reserve, I believe you said.
Yes. Nuki has raced with us before in Tier 1, back in F123, and he's just returned a couple races ago, and has shown some pace in Tier 3, but he's skipped Tier 2 and went straight up to reserve for Tier 1. As Ollie Bean's left again, we'll try and get him back in. We also got Stephen Beechin joining in again.
Yep, I've sent him an invite.
Nice. As
So, Codzilla's on a lap, yep.
And Codzilla was a Tier 2 runner-up also back in Season 4. It was either Season 4 or 3, and whichever... Codzilla's been one of the drivers who's been here a long time, although has left and come back multiple times. It seems like an annual thing that Codzilla leaves and comes back, and this is the race where Codzilla returns and he reserves in the McLaren. Codzilla returning for the first time this season. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he was with us last season, but then left, and he's come back for round 9. 4 rounds to go in the calendar, including this one, as Hitman's joined. As Codzilla up to the line and goes P14. Meanwhile, Ty on a flyer, but I don't think he's improving, as Ollie Bean does rejoin again, and hopefully his connection holds up, because it seems to be struggling at the moment. Meanwhile,
From what I saw, Tyler is improving. He was up nearly 2/10 on his Sector 1.
it might have been telling me about his previous one. Maybe he went for an extra outlap to push on this one. He's only a 10th off Liam, as...
Oh, got a car in the wall!
That is the Williams, I believe, of Zampa, and yet Zampa, unfortunately, in the wall, but thankfully is not retired, so can have another attempt at a lap. As Ty now rounding the final corner, and won the Tier 2 championship last season, did Ty, and isn't improving, so he's going to come into the box. But we have a couple of quick drivers. DZ Racer in P9 as things stand. Fun fact about him, he's also a Tier 3 driver, but actually got pole in Tier 2 yesterday and won from pole in Imola. So there's a lot of drivers here potentially in the wrong tier, but I'm sure we'll sort it out after this season. Although DZ Racer at the same time is probably around P7 in the Tier 3 championship, so it's not like he's been winning every race. So a couple of drivers with a bit of confusing pace, as Gordon is starting a lap here, and Sev also starting a lap, but Gordon having a bit of a wobble midway through the Sector 1 into Turn 3, and now it's flat through this banked quote-unquote straight, as it's flat in an F1 car, and 300ths to the good is Gordon, and he's just shy of Echo's time here to improve, as he dips a wheel in the gravel. Is that going to slow him down any? Is now going to exit the middle sector, wobble, exiting turn 10, and I think he's backed out, because we heard him lift off the throttle there. We've also got TJ on the lap. TJ's attempt to the good, but he's got a bit of traffic up ahead of him. Will that impede his lap at all? The traffic gets out of the way. He's also got the Haas of Liam ahead of him, which might actually inadvertently give him a tow as he rounds the final corner here, although Liam gets out of the way, and TJ now charging to the line. Can TJ even get inside P4? His best finish this season was P4 in Silverstone, and TJ now goes up to P4, 2/10 improvement, and TJ now looking to equal his best finish here in WHF.
Himi's on a run.
Yeah, Himi currently P3. I think Nasev did come out, but must have backed out of his lap and made a mistake. I didn't see how much he was up on his delta. Did you see there?
I didn't see, but it said purple on his sector, but those aren't always accurate, so we don't know.
2/10 to the good. Hemi, he needs another 2/10 if he wants to get anywhere close to pole here. Can Hemi extract it out of the final corner?
We go through the banking now and up to the line to see if it's an improvement.
As up
And
to the
it
line.
is. Wow.
Five.
It is close between the top three.
Yeah, 5,000 separate Hemi and Rio, and it is so close up at the top. The pole at this stage, you could think could go to anyone, but it's going to be interesting to see who can improve here. We've got Ty on another lap. 3/10 to the good as he exits Sector 1. And can Ty find the time? 3/10 would jump him up all the way up to P7, ahead of Kevin Kell, another Tier 2 champion. And can Ty extract the time out of this lap? There is a bit of a gap between Gordon and Kevin, so if Ty could slot himself in that gap, it would be a very good position to start right behind his teammate. And as he rounds the final corner, he may get a tow inadvertently by the Sauber. And the Sauber, who I believe is starting a lap, is actually going to give Ty a lovely tow down the main straight here. And Ty's going to lap this up. And what can he do?
Lovely.
Yep. Almost half a second improvement and Ty into P7. And I'm sure he'll be wanting to give Hitman, I believe, who just started a lap there, a little bit a fiver. After the race, as Zampa improves a position. Also got Codzilla out there, but I don't know.
Oh, Stevens off.
Oh.
He nearly went into the wall there. Yeah, he had a moment there, went off, lost control of the Ferrari.
Yes.
He's recovered it well.
Stephen joined us late here, and he doesn't have a lot of time to set a strong lap. His current banker is not a strong one, as Ollie moves up to P10, or as that Codzilla actually moves up to P11. With a 9.639 reserving for McLaren today, as Akko and Nasev out there on a lap as well. I wonder where Nasev is. I think he's just exiting turn 3, but we'll go on board with Akko, who I don't think it said he was up on his time. I think he might be down. Yeah, he's down by 2 seconds, so Akko not improving, but we'll go on board with Nasev, as he is currently half a tenth improving here. And Nasev is going to be the driver who will be setting the gauntlet for the rest of the drivers to try and achieve. Can Nasev improve his current 8.425, which is a very quick lap time around
he's up by over 10th.
Yeah, up by over 10th. I think I did see Nasev can do a 7 in session, so we'll see if Nasev could even sniff a 7 here, but currently a 10th to the good, and that might be all he needs to build a gap to Rio and Himi. And as Nasev crosses the line now, it's going to be an 8.140. That is a brilliant lap time from the Alpine driver. Rio and Himi Dimes are going to need to find over 3/10 to get ahead. Meanwhile, Hitman also up to P7. He's joined late on, and it's a lovely strong lap from Hitman there.
Yeah, I was watching it. I've just been looking at the constructors, so one of the more close battles so far this season has been... I'll get Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
One of the closer battles this season has actually been Alpine and McLaren so far, but of course with Nis dominantly leading so far, it looks like that gap might widen up. I don't think I've got him added.
Oh, I'll try and get Liam in here. So Lewis,
Yep.
Lewis is also known as Liam, because
Okay, yep. Thanks.
I think
Yeah,
he's just a Hamilton fan. That's where the name comes from.
yeah, I thought so. But yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll call him Liam then.
But Hitman, I believe the Cyber might be out on a lap now, and what have you missed? Mario Glock in the chat says, "Good evening, WHF." Liam says he's triple tasking racing, listening to the stream and listening to the Handball European Championship. That's a new one. As,
Yeah, that's interesting. Didn't expect to hear that.
Although Hitman's 3/10 down won't be improving. DZ Racer, who had pole last time out in Tier 2, despite being a Tier 3 driver. And what can the Tier 3 driver do? As he rounds the final corner, I think he's just going to come into the pit lane. As Kevin Kell next around, he's the next driver improving here in the Alpine. In P10 as it stands. And can Alpine mount a late comeback in the Constructors' Championship with Kevin Nasev? Although Kevin seems to have lost some time in the middle sector, he's now half a tenth down, but could potentially still have some time in the final sector to extract and round the final corner. DRS open for the Alpine, and I must say, we're going to have to come up with a new name for whatever the DRS is called for the new year, as Kevin Kell does improve very, very slightly on his time. Because apparently the MOM acronym has been banned, or they've scrapped that acronym because it sounds a bit ridiculous. So I wonder what the new acronym will be. Do you have any ideas, Daikon?
I actually know, I've heard it a few times now going around, is Active Aero they're calling it. So that's what the new name will be. So you'll say Active Aero has been deployed, or Overtake Mode being deployed, something like that, basically.
Yeah, sounds
As
about...
TJ his lap.
Yeah, it does sound about right. And as you mentioned, TJ is improving on this lap, but not on position. Does improve by a 10th, but unable to get any positions. Aku's had a very strong lap on his run. Meanwhile, Rio Harris in the middle sector. He's currently half a tenth to the good. He can, at the very least, keep Hemi Dimes at bay, but to get ahead of Nasev, he's going to need an absolute final sector.
Let's see if he can do it. He's only got a few more corners. Into the final corner. And Rio Harris still pole away from Nis. Coming out of the final corner, up to the line. DRS activated, ERS being deployed all the way down to 0. Across the line, he improves by 2 tenths. Is so close, but not close enough.
Yeah, pretty much as close as you can get. Meanwhile, Aku on a lap now. He's had a corner. Oh, big wobbles mid corner here. He was improving a lot out of Sector 1 there. But maybe some dirty air from McLaren may have hurt his lap here. We'll see as he exits Sector 2. Aku only improving by a 10th, and I think he was 2 tenths to the good. And now he's got a Sauber in his way. A little bit of traffic for the Haas driver, as the Sauber, I'm not quite sure, knows the Haas is on a lap here. As the Sauber now starting his lap, but Aku may get a lovely tow from the Sauber. And as Aku crosses the line, it's a big improvement, 2 tenths, but just shy of Hemi Dimes, as Hemi now is improving by 100th. We've got Nasev now starting a lap as well, in behind the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham, who, oh my lord, that was almost an airplane crash as Stephen got off the racing line. Nasev just about avoided the Ferrari there. Meanwhile, we've got Hemi closer to finishing a lap, although he's not improving. Can he find any extra time out of the final sector to try and get ahead of Rio Harris? But he hasn't got a great exit there out of turn 12, and I think Hemi at best maybe starting P3 here as he rounds the final corner and up to the line, and no improvement for Hitman.
Nis is up by 2 tenths, I think. He's up to the line now.
Oh, and he's just shy of a 7. He did mention he could get into the 7s, unfortunately misses out on this opportunity, but I'm sure nonetheless he'll take pole as Hitman now up to the line. Where can Hitman go? Big improvement to P5, over half a second for the Sauber driver, and that is an immensely strong lap from the Sauber. Meanwhile, Ty Clear running the final corner, although not improving. We've also got Stephen Beecham out there, although he's not improving either, so that is going to be our order. I'm going to double check we can get anyone in before, because I can't quite tell if people are saying they've lagged out or not. I don't know if Liam's back in, and I don't know if Ali Bean's still out.
Yeah, I did send friend requests to everyone in the lobby. I don't know if he's accepted it though, so yeah, he's not showing up on my list at the moment.
I'll see if I can find Ali. There we are. So I have invited Liam and Ollie, so hopefully they can get back in before the race starts. We'll try and delay as much as we can. Ollie says he's in right now, so that's good to hear. As Liam says he isn't, so hopefully Liam can get in and it allows him to pick his strategy before we get going here, because if not, I'll be quite annoying.
Yeah, definitely.
But Nasev on pole, and that is a very strong start for Nasev. He has 2 wins this season, 1 in Hungary and 1 in Bahrain. As Nasev will lead from pole, a 10th ahead of Rio Harris, followed by Hemi Dimes there. All 3 of those drivers top 4 in the championship, all trying to chase after Cookie, who's not here today. So can all 3 of them make some inroads on Cookie in this championship? Even if Hemi, who's the closest challenger to Cookie, were to win, he'd still be, I think, around 23 points off Cookie as things stand, so there still is a bit of a margin that they will need to close, but I will tell the drivers when they're ready up, and hopefully no one ready's up early.
Yeah, hopefully. That's always a big issue in leagues, of course. Is there a penalty for that? I
Yes,
assume there is.
It is a qualifying ban. And 6 penalty points as Liam is asking for another invite, so we'll try and get him in. I've sent Liam a monster amount of invites today for this lobby. It seems
I've got him.
Yeah.
He's on my list now. I've just sent him an invite.
I'll get him another just in case he needs it, because it seems Liam's having big connection issues today, because even before the lobby got going he was struggling again, but there it is, Liam is in. Hopefully no more disconnects. That is what you would like to see. Despite when it comes to racing, the main thing you want is that everyone gets a chance to race. You don't want to see anyone lagging out, because that just is a bit annoying. You don't want to see people missing out in racing. But we have 19 drivers here today for 36 laps around the Zandvoort circuit. Do you have any predictions, Daikon, for how this is going to
go? I would say Nis is probably going to win this, as long as he gets away well off the line and avoids the turn 1 chaos. I mean, since he's on pole, that he has the best chance to avoid it, as long as nobody just absolutely dive bombs into the first corner. He should be okay, and he should be able to lead from there. I think Zandvoort's an okay track for overtaking, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. So I'd say the person on pole has the best chance, but it's nowhere near as bad as like Monaco, for example, when it comes to overtaking. I'm just looking at the constructors as well. So Red Bull are currently leading the constructors at 245 points. The nearest team to them is Ferrari at 185, and because Cookie isn't here today, this is a good chance for Ferrari to score some good points, try and catch up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes also kind of there, 158 points, so if they get a good score of points today, they could see themselves in the Constructors' fight again. Of course, it's a lot of points, but I think it can be made up in the remaining rounds. So, it'd be interesting to see that battle go on today.
Yeah, it certainly will, and the drivers should be readying up in a minute's time. Get your predictions in the chat. How do you think this one is going to go? It really could go either way. I would say Nasev is the favourite, especially starting from pole, but there is a lot of quick drivers there, so it'll be interesting to see. And considering how Hungary went, you can't really say that this is going to be a straightforward race. There could always be a whole lot of drama. And
yeah, definitely.
Given that we had 4 safety cars last time, the championship leader collided with P2 in the championship at the time, and Cookie picked up a 20-second penalty by the stewards following that. So Mario in the chat says, I will predict the top 4 will stay in a 5-second during the race and drive away from the pack. I could see that happening. Also, my bet would be the top 3 gapping everyone else, but we'll have to wait and see, as we will have the 5 red lights on very soon. And as the drivers get ready for the 5 lights, and Liam's lagged out as we start, and Nasev gets a good start down in a turn 1. Rio's bogged down a little bit, but will keep ahead of Hemi Dimes. As Echo on the inside of Hemi Dimes, as Hemi seems to be ghosting through turn 1, and Gordon as well. There's a lot of ghosting through turn 1 here, and Hemi somehow holding on to the position as big snap of the rear from Hitman, and off the grass he goes as TJ Gordon all through on Hitman dropping down to P7 and losing a whole bunch of positions is the Cyber driver. But Hemi Dimes' connection seems to be all over this show. This is really difficult to predict for Echo, as Gordon have a little look on the inside of Echo here, as Codzilla getting ahead of Kevin Kell through the middle sector, as we'll see what tyres the driver's gone for, as Liam's got back in again. DZ Racer battling with Ollie into P9. DZ Racer starting on the hard tyres along with 3 other drivers, as Ty Clear all over the rear of Hitman and trying to work his way up. Hitman, big mistake there out of turn 12, and Ty all over the rear of the Cyber driver as he's trying to recompose. And as we've started this race, not many gaps here. Only Liam seems to be the only driver that's out of DRS range, as Echo seems to be dropping a bit back from Hemi Dimes, as I predicted, although I think a lot of that may come down to how bad Hemi's connection was there on the first lap. It was really difficult to predict, and Echo may have lost some time as a result. But everyone else staying very close on this opening lap. But as predicted, the top three seem to be building that gap already.
Yeah, I was going to say Gordon had a very good start. Of course, starting P7, he's managed to gain 2 positions. He's in 5th right now and challenging Echo, it looks like. As you said, Echo is losing time to the leaders as of now. So we'll see that battle unfold shortly.
Yeah, and on Codzilla's return to WHF, he's on the rear of Kevin Cal, who he's battled with many times in the past. Hitman trying to recompose after losing some positions off the start. He's closing to the rear of TJ. Meanwhile, Liam, I think, hasn't really got control of his car again because he's still 3 seconds off the pack. So hopefully Liam can get control of his car as soon as possible, as Echo has fully lost DRS now, and Rio all over the rear of Nasev as Codzilla has dropped a couple positions. What's happened, Codzilla? He has made a mistake of some sorts and drops down to P16. That's a big fall for Codzilla. Not quite sure what's happened, Cod. Meanwhile, Zampa as well has got left end plate damage on that Williams car, so Zampa's been in the wars already. As Stephen Beecham in P18 now all over the rear of the Williams driver, as Kevin Kell also giving DZ Racer a bit of drama. And something to think about is DZ Racer, who has started the hards. He's struggling a bit early. Ollie has already pulled a gap, and we're seeing a lot of trains starting to form here. From Echo down, DZ Racer down, and Liam unfortunately out of the trains as Mallard trying to stick with the Alpine, struggling. The rear of that Red Bull struggling to stick into the tarmac as he's trying to stay with the Alpine. Ollie Bean on his Tier 1 debut here. Normally a Tier 2 driver. I think P5 in the Tier 2 Championship, if not mistaken. Doing pretty well as Nuki Lad and Thori in behind. Thori starting in the hards and just having a very strong out. And as Rio Harris down into turn 1 looks for the move but doesn't go for it. Gordon gets through on Echo. And Gordon now up into P4. Gordon has been a very quick driver but just doesn't seem to have the pace this season with the top three. But you'd have to say Gordon is the quickest, or you'd have to say the best of the rest out of the rest of these drivers, as Nuki does get through an Ollie Bean. And there's now a bit of a gap between DZ Racer, Kevin and Mallard, as Ty Clear chasing after Hitman. Hitman trying to stick with the pack ahead. But I think it's been a much more calm opening to the race than Hungary last time out, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree. As for what happened to Codzilla, I saw him out of the final corner. He had a bit of a moment, a loss of control in the rear, and he kind of hit into the wall. I don't think he got any damage from the incident, but he did lose a few positions. But yeah, the battles are going crazy, and yeah, Gordon up to 4th. I did say that battle would unfold, and it has, and it looks like Echo is losing a bit more time than he would like, because TJ's on the back of him now. Oh, TJ just had a moment. Oh, big crash into the wall, Hitman into the wall. He's retired.
Oh. He's retired on track.
Not from damage, he just left.
Yeah. That's a penalty for those of you in the audience who are unaware. So Hitman will have to deal with that after the race. As DZ Racer into turn 1 has seemed to have had contact with Kevin Cal. And DZ Racer now dropping a second back behind Mallard as well. Maybe some contact between the Alpine and the V-Carb reserve for today. As Echo all over the rear of the Aston Martin, as Beecham's gotten a 10-second penalty. I wonder, has he overtaken someone into turn 1 while that yellow flag came out for Hitman retiring? That may have cost Stephen massively here with that 10-second penalty, which he'll have to serve. And there's a big mistake there from Ollie Bean, and Ollie Bean off in the wall, and damage for the Williams driver. And it may have to...
That's not good. That's brought Liam into contention for a position though. So I think he'll be happy about that.
Yeah, Liam...
Got the RS, he's about to make a move.
Finally back into the battles, and Liam now sending it on the Williams driver, who I think at this point is more worried about just getting his front wing fixed before moving onwards. Meanwhile, we've got Rio Harris back on the rear and a save, not going for a move. We've got Echo on the inside of Gordon, getting through. Ollie on the inside of Ty Clear, side by side they go, and the McLaren goes side by side with the Aston. They're still side by side, exiting turn 2, and Ollie through on Ty Clear as Thori battling with Nuki Lad and Stephen. Can he get through on Codzilla as they go side by side? through Sector 1, and Stephen has to concede to Codzilla, who stays ahead. And Stephen, one of the hard runners at the start here. Well, keep an eye on how the hard runners make their progress. DZ Racers lost some places, but qualified very well here. And although that 10-second time penalty from Stephen's definitely going to hold him back on his particular strategy.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the gaps at the moment, so we've got quite a few different trains that have opened up. Well, it's more like 2 to 3 cars, and then there's a bit of a gap between them each time. But looking at the front 3, they are still very close. DRS opened for Rio Harris towards turn 1. Is he going to go for a move this time?
Yeah, he keeps feinting for a move, but I don't think Nasev's going to get spooked by that. As Ty clear into the box early, and we see Ollie, or who's that, Mallard, getting ahead of Kevin Cal, as Gordon close behind Akko, and seems to be a lot of swapping here. Codzilla around the outside of Stephen Beecham trying to hold on to that position as they battle through. We also had Thori overtaking Nuki, and Thori got through into P11. But a lot of battles here so far. Hard to keep track of all the positions.
It's just gone off.
Yeah, Cod with a mistake again. And I don't think he is damaged, but has lost a position out of Stephen Beecham, who's in the P13. And I think Stephen, in his mind, will be thinking a safety car would be ideal around lap 20 if he wants to go that far, if he does want to try a one-stop. But some drivers may be trying a two-stop this race. Some may be trying the one. What would you say would be the correct strategy?
I would personally go for a two-stopper, but obviously that depends on if there's a safety car or not, at what time. Of course, strategies change all the time, really. I'm looking at turn 1 again. Oh, Rio's going for it, down the inside, into turn 1. He's going to go for the lead. And it's very close. Yeah. He might get it done. No, not quite. He has to back out.
Yeah, Rio being very conservative here. Only wants the move if it's guaranteed. Doesn't want any drama because he knows how that ended up last time in Hungary. And he wants to just make sure he finishes this race as things stand. Hemi Dimes, but Codzilla retires in the pit lane. And it's not been the ideal return for the McLaren reserve for today. But as mentioned, if things were to end as is, Hemi Dimes would still be the biggest benefactor. He would close, or he'd be the closest to Cookie after this round. Although, I'm pretty sure all 3 of them would be very happy to finish on the podium in this race because they'll all be making points on Cookie, who's not here today. Meanwhile, Liam on the rear of Zampa. Zampa's still struggling with that damage in the Williams, and Liam looking for the switchback. And, really struggling for traction on the rear of the Williams, and oh my lord, almost a massive car crash between the Haas and the Williams there. I think Zampa wanted to go very defensive as back down the inside goes Rio Harris on Nasev. This battle is going to continue. Nasev continues to hold on to the lead. Meanwhile, we'll revisit what's happening between Liam and Zampa, because this seems to be... Oh, and Zampa goes wide and brushes the wall. That front wing really hurting Zampa at this stage. I think he needs to box and commit to the two-stop here, but Zampa sticking it out on that damage. It seems to be really hurting him in this race. Meanwhile, Rio continuing to go for moves on the save, but unable to really make a move. And I wonder, is this starting to overheat his mediums a little bit? And can the save start to pull a gap? But Rio seems to be holding on to the gap relatively well.
Yeah, this doesn't seem as clear-cut as last week. Of course, Rio wasn't really in contention last week after his DNF on lap 1. But this week he's in contention for the win, and he will continue to pester Nis until the very end of this race, I would assume. And of course, Himi's just kind of sitting there at the moment. I think he's just biding his time, probably letting them squabble ahead, and when they're low on ERS, he'll probably make his move around then.
Yeah, absolutely. As TJ on the rear of Akko, as well as Rio back on the inside in a save. We can't seem to leave this battle. It seems to be the same move over and over again. It's Akko again with a 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. And I can't express to you how many times Akko's got a 10-second penalty speeding into the pit lane in this season. TJ gets through on Akko, but Akko again with another 10-second. He's committed to the two-stop. But another unfortunate end to Oh, well, another unfortunate pain for Echo. It seems like every race at this point he keeps getting speeding in the pit lane penalties. As
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got a penalty last week or not. I can't actually remember, but I know a few people got speeding penalties and drive-throughs.
yeah, there was a lot of penalties last week, including drive-throughs. Although I'm not quite sure why. A couple of people said game glitches, but I didn't see any clips of the game glitch. So it's very surprising to see so many drive-throughs. But we do have Rio Harris back on the rear in a save. And is anyone going to come in? Yes, they are going to come in. All three going to come in now. And
Gordon
they've
stays out.
all boxed on the same lap. Gordon, I think Gordon is the type of driver to risk it and try and go for the one stop. He may go and extend these tyres to lap 16 before boxing onto hards. But it seems everyone into the pit lane now to start the two-stop strategy. You did mention it's the quickest strategy, but if Gordon does something different while everyone else is squabbling, that could help Gordon
He's
here.
not the only one. DZ Racer and Fori are also going for a one-stop maybe. I'm
Although-
not sure if they're just waiting another lap. But
No, they're on hards as Nasev contact
yeah.
with Thori through sector 1 here. Nasev gets through and now he's going to get trying through on DZ Racer, who's out there on the hard tyres, and Nasev wants to get through as quickly as possible. So does Rio Harris as Rio into the rear of Thori, and Rio's around! Rio, big contact and falling down the order, and Rio down to P8 after running into the rear of Thori, as Nasev now dances around the outside of DZ Racer. Hemi's going to have to get ahead of Thori and DZ Racer as soon as possible, otherwise Nasev may have an easy win in the bag here, as Thori makes a little bit of a mistake exiting turn 11. Hemi Dimes all over the rear of Thori, going to look on the outside as Gordon comes in. He just extended for another lap, and that actually is going to help Gordon, because he may exit the box ahead of Rio Harris following his drama, as Hemi Dimes now trying to get ahead of Thori, finally does, although Nasev has cleared off down the road. Following the drama, Nasev was able to get through the pack the quickest there, and now Hemi Dimes has got to try and dispatch DZ Racer, but the gap from him and Nasev is around 2.7 already, as Gordon exits down in P10, and he actually is still behind Rio Harris. He's gone for another set of mediums as Echo on the rear tie clear, as side by side through the middle sector they go. Echo on the outside of the Aston Martin driver, and Echo gets through into P8. Meanwhile, he's his teammate of Liam up ahead, as Hemi all over the rear of DZ Racer, and going to try and make this move through the middle sector, round the outside, going for the switchback to try and get the run with DRS, and it's a lovely move from Hemi Dimes, as Gordon getting through on tie, clearing Rio ahead of Stephen Beecham. Echo side by side with his teammate Lewis or Liam, and Echo now into P7, but a lot of drama there on that lap as Kevin Kell now through on Zampa. Zampa's gone deep into the gravel and gonna have to rejoin safely so he doesn't pick up a penalty. And it seems that damage is really hurting Zampa this race. He's still yet to box. He seems firmly committed to the two-stop as Rio gets ahead of Thori. And we've got Gordon up into P8, and that overcut has really not worked for Gordon. He's lost a heap of time, I think. He wasn't as far off the gap as off the front pack as he was following the pit stop. As Rio now back up into P3, he'll be happy about that, but will be very unhappy about his spin. And I'm sure Rio will try and recover and catch Hemi Dimes, who is his closest rival currently in the championship. Meanwhile,
yeah, I was going to say that traffic really did not help Hemi or Rio, especially Rio, of course, with the spin, but that was insane, really, to see.
As Echo through on the middle sector on Stephen Beecham, and now that all these drivers have boxed, they have encountered all of the hard runners who are yet to box. We've got Gordon ahead of Stephen Beecham, we've got TJ ahead of Ty Clear, who has boxed but a bit earlier onto the hard, so he may struggle a bit as Thori on the rear of DZ Racer, and we may have almost a three-wide moment into turn 1 as Echo is watching this battle. Thori and DZ Racer on the same tyres in the same team, and they're battling through turn 1 as Echo washes DZ Racer out onto the curb, and Echo through into P5 now. Echo going to try and get through on Thori A reminder though, Akko still holding on to that 10-second spinning in the pit lane penalty, which will hurt him after the end. Meanwhile, Gordon up into P6, which is actually a net P4 as things stand with Akko's penalty. As Akko now all over the rear of Thori, and you don't want to get too close to the rear of Thori. We've seen how that ended for Rio Harris, because Thori on much older tyres here is going a bit slower than these drivers who are on fresh mediums. And Akko going to try and get the exit out of turn 10, but again brushes the rear of Thori, just doesn't have the traction that the Haas driver has, and Akko going to try and look for a move, but Gordon pushing on the rear of the Haas, but doesn't go for the move. TJ side by side with Stephen Beecham, and Stephen washes out wide, and TJ gets through as he's going to try and get the exit on DZ Racer as well. Owen has to back out as DZ Racer trying to protect that position. Now Akko on the rear of Thori, and there's battles throughout here. Akko getting thrown. Thori wheel banging with the Haas drivers. Gordon's going to pick the outside of the V-Carb, and Gordon going to try and sail around the outside of the Haas driver, and this would be a sensational move from the Aston Martin if he can hold it together. Still side by side they go, and Gordon dances around the outside for one of the moves of the season. Absolutely splendid move from Gordon into P4. Somehow got it through on both of them. And what a move that was!
Yeah, definitely. I was watching that so closely. I can't believe he managed to do that. I would say that's the best move of the season, and I haven't even seen the other moves. I'm just going to say that was incredible. He managed to capitalise perfectly on the other drivers battling, and that is a sensational recovery after rejoining the pits in 10th. After his overcut didn't seem to work out. That is an incredible recovery.
Yeah, and Gordon with some clear air now. Maybe can use it as TJ gets through on Thori. And I wonder, what are the hard runners going to do here? Are they going to try and commit to the one stop, or are they going to box around lap 16 and maybe go for just a sharper two stop? We'll have to wait and see. It seems DZ Racer has gone for the two stop. Meanwhile, Thori appears to be potentially staying out as late as lap 20, although I mentioned that Thori comes in now. So that was quickly quashed as Ollie defending down into turn 1 on the inside, tightly around the outside, trying to find the grip. And a reminder, a bit of contact between Ollie and Ty as Ty leaves the road momentarily. A reminder that Ollie and Ty are firmly in a battle in the championship here, separated by a point for P. I'm actually not going to mention where they're in the championship because I don't want that clipped. As Ty is currently.
I can already assume.
Yeah.
I can already assume where they are.
We know where they are. I don't even need to go any further. As Ty on the rear of Ollie, but this is realistically for championship position wherever they finish. But Ollie has the 3-lap fresher hards, so Ty may struggle to hold on to the rear of the McLaren. But Ty does have DRS to help him here. We'll see as this battle goes on. Meanwhile, Stephen still yet to box here. It seems Stephen may be committing to the one stop, and I think with that 10-second penalty, it might be the smart move if he limits his pit stops just to 1. So he's just got to keep inside DRS range here as Stephen, and it could certainly help him on this one-stop strategy. That 10-second is certainly going to hurt him, and I'm not sure it was a just penalty. We'll have to see after the race whether or not it gets removed. As Ty back on the rear of Ollie. Ollie still holding on to this position. Meanwhile, I'd like to point out, up at the leaders, Hemi just seems to be tiptoeing his way up to the rear of Nasev. The gap is at 3 seconds, and it progressively has been going in Hemi's direction, but as I mentioned that, it seems to be going back the way of Nasev, so it doesn't seem like Nasev's pulling a monster gap as of right now.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It was 3.5, I think, around a lap ago right now. So he's managed to cut down a few tenths, but nothing major.
And I wonder, is Nasev more thinking about just managing his hards, and that's what is why Hemi's closing up a bit, because he's pushing a lot harder to try and catch. Meanwhile, Rio also not too far away from DRS range from the Ferrari, and I wonder, is Rio and Hemi going to try and work together to catch Nasev, or are they going to battle it out for P2? They are championship rivals here at this point, battling for P2 in the championship, so we'll see how that one plays out. They could work together more, thinking about trying to catch Cookie, as they both need the most points possible. Meanwhile, Ty on the rear of Ollie, but not going for the move, but late on the brakes, almost into the rear of the McLaren. Meanwhile, TJ now has got inside DRS range of Akko, who again has to do another pit stop on that 10-second penalty. is going to really cost them. Meanwhile, Liam on the inside of Nuki getting through into P11 as DZ Racer swaps with Thori again. And these two, who aren't actually VCarb teammates, Thori is a VCarb driver, meanwhile DZ Racer is a reserve for today, but they have been battling like their teammates. They have been very close throughout this entire race.
Yeah, definitely. I've been watching them. Of course, difference in strategy, kind of. Well, only a few laps, of course, but I feel like these two will continue to battle until the end, of course, because they're not proper teammates. They're just one of them's just a reserve.
Yeah, now we've got Akko on the rear, or TJ on the rear of Akko, and on the hard tires. Can he get the run into turn 1 here?
Yeah, he's got DRS. It looks like he's going to be close into the first corner. Echo has to go defensive. And there he is down the inside. Not quite getting the move done. Maybe on exit. Let's see who has more speed coming out of the corner into the next few turns. Oh, it's close. There's contact. As Echo nearly goes off the track. They are very wheel to wheel. They're wheel to wheel. And unfortunately it doesn't work as we've got a yellow.
I believe that is Zampa?
Yep, he has spun again, and the same place he spun in qualifying. He's recovered the car. I don't think he's got damage from the incident, but that is unfortunately quite a bad thing for him as he loses a lot of time. I think he's got a bit of wing damage. I don't know if that's from that or...
Well, he did have damage earlier on, and I wonder if he forgot to tell his team to fix the front wing, because a lot of times in this game they don't, as TJ now down the inside of Akko and in the middle sector gets through with DRS. But can Akko get the move as we exit the final corner? Akko's going to try and stay with the Mercedes as best he can, but are these mediums now struggling here? Zampa is retired in the pit lane, which is going to make Akko's move a little bit harder into turn 1. He may have to delay it until the exit of turn 1. Is he gone too early? I think he's gone too early, and I think he's going to get an illegal overtake. Zampa's left the session, and I believe Akko may have gotten an illegal overtake there. That's why he's let off a bit to allow TJ back through again. And it's a little bit, it is a little bit annoying whenever that does happen. I mean, no blame on Zampa. He has retired at where he's supposed to, but the yellow flag has in the end cost Akko trying to make the move as Liam battling with Nuki, makes a mistake there, and now he's got Thori for company. And this pack of 4 is so close together as Thori now trying to get a better exit than Liam. As Nuki got up into P11 there, but Liam just about holding on to P12.
Let's see which battles are the closest at the moment. It looks like TJ's still ahead of Echo
Oh, and
for
a
the time
big
being.
spin!
Oh.
Big spin from Liam. Takes too much of the grass through turn 7. I'm trying to remember what turn that is. I think it is turn 7. And off in the gravel, and he's now dropped out of this battle between Nuki, Thori and DZ Racer. Akko into the pit lane now, and I hope he has a set of hards to go on, which I believe he does. I think he did start on the mediums, so Akko now will be going hards to the end. He'll serve that 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty, and hopefully Akko will be able to...
followed him in.
Yeah, Stephen in as Thori now down the inside of Nuki.
And Liam's also in.
Yeah, into P9.
Oh, he's hit the wall on entry there. I don't know if he got damage from that, but he lost a lot of time.
He's also followed his teammate into the box. I wonder, is that going to hamper his pit? I don't believe so. I will say the mediums in this game are not quite strong, so you never really want to do a hard medium, I find. But we'll see how Stephen and Liam get on. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. But usually, you kind of want to get the mediums out of the way as soon as possible and then just be on hards for the rest of the race. I'm pretty sure if drivers could make the choice, they would do hard in pretty much every track on this game. It doesn't seem like the mediums are that strong. So we'll see how Stephen's mediums hold up. He's catching the rear of Mallard very quickly. Mallard, I think, is going to have to do another pit stop for sure. But a reminder, everyone who's currently in this race will get points. Points go down to P16 in WHF, so that is something to look out for as DZ Racer now on the rear of Nuki, and will look for the move as Nuki comes into the pit lane for his final pit stop. But We're here on lap 22, and there's been a lot less drama than there was last time in Hungary. 4 safety cars, although a couple of them came quite late on. And the battle for the lead has stayed pretty much as we've seen it around a good couple laps ago, as Stephen does get through on Mallard, as Mallard dropping down to P13 as Nuki's just exited the box behind both of these drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say about the lead battle, yeah, it's kind of stayed the same with Gordon just in 4th. Oh, Rio's in.
Yeah, Rio going for the undercut. And I hope, as I mentioned, he has a set of hards to use because the mediums are not an immensely strong tyre on this game, and Rio has gone hards, but I'm assuming Hemi Nesev will also have a set of hard tyres. But we did mention how strong the undercut was earlier in the race. Nesev had the benefit of that, and we've seen how effective it was. He was able to cut his way through the midfield. And can Rio get out ahead of TJ? And also, what I would say, if I'm Rio Harris, I would say, TJ, can you please hold up Nesev like your life depends on it? Because TJ doesn't have to box just yet. He could stay out a little bit longer and just hold up Nesev to help Rio Harris in this race, who is trying to pull the undercut. But if Nesev and Hemi come in this lap, they could still get out ahead as Nuki gets ahead of Mallard. And I think Mallard's going to be thinking about his final pit stop here. I think he may have another set of mediums to go on. Although I can't remember. I think he may have started on the mediums. Can't remember what tire Mallard started on. As Nesev does come in, and so does Hemi Dimes. And where will Rio emerge in this battle? Where will TJ and Gordon emerge in this battle? Will they get in the way? Is the question. Rio now rounding the final corner, and this undercut may have been a smart move because it's helped him.
They're both in. TJ's in as well, so he won't get any help from his teammate.
Oh. Well, Nesev now exiting the box, and it seems Rio's not close, but Rio will be close to Hemi Dimes as we just see Hemi on the inside there. And Rio now
Lovely undercut.
doesn't get ahead, but has now got himself firmly inside DRS range as Rio now all over the rear of the Ferrari. As Thori comes in, Echo sets the fastest lap of the race, and Rio now and Hemi may try and work together here to catch Nesev. Whether or not they can do it, we'll see as Ty Clear and Echo go side by side, and Echo through into P8 as he's going to try and get under the rear of DZ Racer, who still has another pit stop to go in this race. Meanwhile, Thori in for his final pit stop. Stephen in P11 ahead as Nuki side by side he goes with Thori, and Nuki gets through on Thori. Can Thori get the exit here out of turn 3? Doesn't seem like it. But I think Rio made the smart move pulling the undercut. Even if he doesn't catch Nesev here, he could at the very least get P2, which is exactly what he needs to make the most amount of points to start to catch Cookie. Even if he doesn't catch Cookie by the end of the season, he'll still want to finish ahead of Hemi Dimes. So if he can work his way ahead, he was close for a move into turn 1 there, but no cigar. Meanwhile, Echo on the rear of DZ Racer going to want to make this move as soon as possible, because DZ Racer will have to pit again, and DZ Racer is coming in now. And can Echo build a gap to Ty Clear? Echo was a bit further up in the road, but that 10-second penalty has cost him, and now he'll have to put up with Ty Clear on the lap fresh hard tyres. Meanwhile, Thori also on the rear of Nuki Lad. Thori had picked up a 3-second time penalty. The only driver this day to do that is Thori now down the inside of Nuki. And Nuki leaving him the room as Thori trying to find the traction. Nuki round the outside though. Bit of wheel banging between the Cyber and the V-Carbon. Round the outside. Nuki will keep it ahead of Thori as he tries again to look for the switchback out of turn 3, but cannot find the traction.
Yeah, looking again, the gap hasn't changed this lap between Hemi and Rio Harris. Once again, DRS will be activated, but it actually looks like he's kind of losing time. Not that much though, but he might be losing DRS soon if he doesn't get a move done. So that battle is going to keep flaring up, it seems, until there's no DRS.
Yeah, that is the issue with Rio with the pulling the undercut, as Ollie's in for his final pit stop. But Rio is going to have to maybe make a move before his heart start to overheat. They are a lap older, so it may cause him to struggle a bit more than Hemi. Meanwhile, Ollie into the box for his final pit stop, and that's allowed Echo, TJ, and Gordon up into the top 6. And where will Ollie emerge? Because Ollie is in a very strong position here on the medium tyres as Kevin Kell exits just ahead of him, but they're side by side, and Ollie gets through into P8, and that was a very good move as he exited the pit lane. Had to make that move as Thori battling with Nuki. DZ Racer watching these two go side by side through turns 2 and 3, and Thori almost pushing the Cyber off the track as there's big contact, and Nuki ghosting momentarily here as DZ Racer on the rear. As Zampa says, I think I need to retire, I'm cooked. It's just tier 1, mate. Don't worry about it, Zampa. As DZ Racer now on the rear.
Yeah, that was quite a battle there. There was actually contact, and I think it was Nuki that nearly got pushed off the track, pretty much. We've got a bit of a yellow. What was that about?
I think Mallard may have went a bit wide, but I think he's still in. And Mallard, I'm not quite sure what's happened to him in his race, because he's going to have to box again, and he's going to be last by quite a margin, so maybe he must have had a big spin there, because I didn't expect him to be this far down the order, and he still will have to do another pit stop here, so Mallard's struggling on his strategy.
I'm looking at his strategy. He started on mediums, went to hards, and he's gone back onto mediums. So that's an odd choice in strategy, really.
I'm guessing in one of his stints he got damage as Nuki back on the inside of Thori, and Thori, bit of contact, more wheel banging between the pair of them, and this is a ferocious battle here for P11 as Mallard does come into the pit lane, and we'll be hoping to get maybe the fastest lap along with just 1 point, as he has put on a set of soft tyres to go to the end, and Mallard will try and get the fastest lap as well. But the closest battle here currently is Nuki Lad, DZ Racer, and Thori, all battling over P11, all currently inside the points is all the drivers out there. Meanwhile, Rio on the rear of Hemi Dimes, as Mallard now unfortunately lapped in this race by the podium runners, and Hemi 2.5 seconds off Nasev. He has made up half a second since they've pit, but he needs to be making up bigger inroads if he wants to get into the battle for the lead. And it does seem like Hemi and Rio are maybe just going to battle over P2 until the end of this one. And
yeah, definitely. I'm wondering if Hemi can actually gain on this, but I don't know if that's possible, because of course throughout the lap the gap always fluctuates as it is currently. We've got DZ Racer down the inside of Nuki Boy. Yep, let's move. Successful. A switchback maybe. Oh, we're losing the rear. They're side by side heading towards turn 2 and then into turn 3. Nuki has to back out of it. DZ into 12th.
Yeah, some beautiful battling between these drivers here. Nuki on the rear of DZ Racer, and they may have lost touch from Thori here. May have lost some DRS. Meanwhile, Rio back on the rear of Hemi, but not close enough to making a move. We've also got Mallard here in behind, who may get some DRS to help him on his fastest lap attempt. That'll be an extra point that Mallard can take. But I don't know if he'll catch the likes of Ollie being ahead. Meanwhile, Nuki having a strong race on his debut here in Tier 2 this season. Or in Tier 1 this season, apologies.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good start to your career, I suppose. Well, not career. I mean, in Tier 1 debut. I mean, scoring good amount of points. P13, of course. Good, I suppose. I didn't know points went down to 16th, so I learned that on stream today.
Yeah. Well, Mario in the chat says Zandvoort may not be Zampa's track, so head up for the next race, and that's absolutely right. You can really have tracks that go your way and tracks that don't, as Liam comes in. And I think Liam's probably just thrown away a position or two there, because he was ahead of Ollie Bean. I think he probably wants the fastest lap, but he now may lose a position in Mallard potentially, which would drop him
I'm
point
checking his
behind.
strategy.
Yeah, and Mallard has got the fastest lap, and also will Mallard. Yeah, Mallard does get ahead of Liam, and Mallard will have DRS off the Rio and Hemi to help protect this position. So Liam, in his pursuit of the fastest lap, may have lost more points than it'll gain him. So I'm not quite sure about that move. Another intriguing battle here will be TJ on the rear of Gordon. TJ almost inside DRS range as he's pushing flat out to try and equal his best result of the season. Gordon has a number of podiums, meanwhile TJ Down in P15, the championship, has missed a couple of races, but I'm sure TJ wants to be a lot higher than he is in the championship, and this is an opportunity now as he's almost inside DRS range of the Aston Martin driver. And a good result here could jump TJ up a lot of positions, so I'm sure TJ is going to be trying his hardest to get inside that gap, but Gordon keeping him at bay.
Yeah, definitely. TJ did quite well, I think, in Hungary last week. I've been looking at him throughout the race. He's doing quite well, to be honest, and if he can equal his best performance of the season from Silverstone, then that will be definitely good for the Constructors' Championship and, of course, his driving championship. As you said, he's currently down in 15th, so maybe the P4 could help him boost him up a few places.
Yeah, and a similar story for Akko. Akko's just a position ahead of TJ in P14, so a P6 for Akko here will help him a lot in the championship. But there is a bit of a gap between Akko, Wall-Max, and the car ahead, which is Stephen Beecham. There's 14 points separate Stephen Beecham and Wall-Max, so Akko and TJ, a good result here could start to close that gap to Stephen, who currently sitting in P10. And Stephen trying to make up a couple of positions of his own as well.
Yeah, we don't have long in this race left. Just look it up at lap 31. We only have 5 laps to go, and Nis is about to cross the line to make it lap 32 out of 36. And it looks like the gap has increased to nearly 4 seconds, or it was 3.7 a minute ago. It's just gone down again. But yeah, it looks like Nis could comfortably win this by a few seconds, as long as he doesn't make any silly mistakes.
As DZ Racer battling again with Thori, and these two have been ferociously battling throughout the whole race. Meanwhile, Rio back on the rear of Hemi Dims, but still unable to get that move. I wonder, is Rio playing a bit of possum, waiting for the right moment to make the move?
I would argue he is waiting. They're around similar ERS level. I've not. Hang on, let me enable telemetry. I'm just looking from the cockpit. Yeah, they're around the same telemetry, ERS level on telemetry, with Hemi just having a little bit more at the moment in reserve. So I think maybe Rio might be waiting for the last lap or around the last laps to make the overtake, so that he doesn't have to squabble with Hemi unnecessarily. You want to get the move done as late as possible, but like to make sure that nobody can fight you back, I suppose. That's what I'm trying to say.
As Thori on the outside of DZ Racer, and Thori gets ahead of DZ Racer, although Thori's 3-second time penalty may drop him behind DZ Racer and Nuki, who he's been battling with ferociously for quite some time. Meanwhile, Mallard again with the DRS. That's going to help him. If he just even sticks behind Rio and Hemi, it might be very difficult for Liam to get ahead. Does Liam have the fastest lap? I'm not even quite sure. Let me see here.
No, I don't think he does. I think it's still...
Mallard has the fastest lap here, and Liam's just realistically cost himself 2 points boxing unnecessarily. So I'm not quite sure what the thinking was from Liam, and now Mallard may get P15 in the end, along with the fastest lap, which will give him an extra point. Meanwhile,
something I've noticed is that Mallard is under-fueled slightly, so he might be running out of fuel by the end of the race, which could give Liam that extra position.
I feel like this is a reoccurring problem for Mallard. I don't know why he keeps under-fueling, because there's a couple of races, you could probably count them all on your hand around that he has run out of fuel. I know of certainly a couple where he's run out of fuel that have benefited me in the past, as Nuki Lad gets ahead of DZ Racer, and DZ Racer brushing the rear of the Sauber. And I think DZ Racer's made some sort of mistake, because it's allowed Thori now to build a bit of a gap here. And a couple of battles that still are undecided. Gordon trying to keep TJ at bay. Ty Clear trying to get back inside DRS range. If Akko has the lap, fresher hards to use. Can he use them to his advantage? We will see. Ollie on those medium tyres still trying to catch. He exited the box just ahead of Kevin Kell, but hasn't made any further inroads, hasn't really got ahead of anyone else. So that is hopefully what he's looking for. Meanwhile, the next driver to be lapped is Ollie Bean, and Ollie Bean's actually dropping back a bit, which may allow Mallard and Liam into this battle here. And Rio going to be a bit perturbed by the Williams, who's a bit in his eye line, as Stephen Beecham's made a mistake, and that's allowed Thori through. Stephen seemed to be sailing into P10 now. He's going to have to really work for it. He has DRS range from Thori, But he's going to have to hold on to this gap as close as he can because Thori has that 3-second time penalty. And if Stephen falls out of DRS range, he could be susceptible to losing a position to Nuki and DZ Racer, who are on slightly better tyres at this stage of the race. Stephen, one of the only drivers doing the one stop here, went hard medium. And his mediums may be hitting the cliff now. As the yellow flag is out, it's a Haas driver. As Rio dives it on the inside of him, he dives on the penultimate lap here, but not close enough to making a move. Hemi tried to really take the move, but not close enough. It was Liam actually who made a mistake there, and Liam seems to have cost himself another position here. Meanwhile, Mallard all over the rear of Ollie Bean, trying to get through. And we'll keep an eye on that battle, but the closer battle we need to keep an eye on is Rio and Hemi Dimes. This is coming down to the wire here as Hemi's car is jumping all over the track. That is going to be very distracting if that's what Rio is seeing. And Hemi, who is...
Yeah, I'm noticing they're both harvesting as much as possible. It looks like, though, Hemi has the advantage in terms of ERS, as Rio has been deploying more to try and keep up. So I think Hemi will be able to defend as we go on to the final laps shortly.
As Nuki does get ahead of Stephen Beecham, we've got Rio on the rear of Hemi Dimes. Can he get ahead? Mallard not close enough to get in the move just yet. Rio now going to be dumping the battery, so will Hemi Dimes. Can't Hemi hold on? As they're about to start the final lap, as the yellow flag, I believe, is out for Liam again. Rio down the inside. Can he send it late on the Ferrari driver? Hemi Dimes round the outside, trying to keep it together. Side by side they go. P2 and 3 in the championship, also P2 and 3 on the road, as Hemi keeps ahead of Rio Harris, as Rio going to look for the switchback and get the exit out of turn 3, but doesn't get a good enough exit here. But this is still going to be the battle to watch, as Mallard does get through on Ollie Bean, and Mallard now up in a P14 as Stephen loses another position down to DZ Racer, and that one stop just seems to not be working for Stephen here.
Oh, he's got a puncture. Stephen's got a puncture. Oh, I can see him. Is that a puncture?
Oh, it is a puncture, yeah. Left
Yeah.
front, and on my screen it's jumping absolutely everywhere. As Rio now going to try and get the exit out of the middle sector. Big snap of the rear, and that's surely done and dusted. His battle for P2. And Stephen now, maybe even at risk of losing P13, because he's got to complete another lap. And he's actually come into the pit lane, which I don't know if that was the right move. But anyway, Nasev has dominated throughout the whole race, and the Alpine driver will cross the line and win here in round 9 as Hemi Dimes finishes P2 ahead of Rio Harris. Next it'll be Gordon ahead of TJ as Mallard finishes ahead of Ollie Bean. And I just remembered, oh, and off the road, who's that? That was Liam off the road again as Gordon.
Yeah, that is yellow.
Oh, and Ty Clear gets ahead of Echo. What's happened to Echo? Echo seems to have made a mistake, and it's allowed Ty through, and Ollie gets through.
No,
and
he's
Echo.
underfueled. He's underfueled. He's run out of fuel.
Oh my lord.
So we was focused on Mallard being out of fuel. Echo's even worse. He's losing positions as it goes. Can Kevin catch up? As we go to the line with Kevin Cowell, I think Echo will just get away with it. Yeah, he will. He finishes P8 after that. He ran out of fuel on the last lap.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that. Stephen, I think, has got away with one boxing there because Mallard and Ollie, because they're a lap down, have already finished the race. As Nuki jumps Story because of the penalty. DZ Racer finishes P12. Stephen will finish P13, will not set the fastest lap due to not starting his fastest lap. Because he was entering the pit lane as the final lap ticked across, and Stephen will be the final finisher in P13. And that puncture, unfortunately for Stephen, has cost him a couple of positions, but I'm sure he'll take P13 in the end. But a dominant win for Nasev. Hemi in P2 will close as much as he can in the championship to Cookie, as Rio Harris finishes in P3 will be frustrated by that outcome. That spin earlier on the race definitely has cost him, and Rio made the least amount of progression out of the top 4 in the championship here, trying to catch Cookie. But either way, all three start to close the Cookie, and as we head to Brazil for round 10 next time out, that is going to be an exciting watch.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Is it going to be a sprint weekend like real life, or just regular race?
We have not done sprint weekends for a while. Maybe we can bring it back for next season, but currently not, as Nasev does win here ahead of Hemi Dimes, followed by Rio Harris. Then it's Gordon, TJ, Ty, Claire, Ollie, Akko, Kevin, Nuki, Thori, DZ, Racer, Stephen, Mallard, Ollie, and Liam will be your points finishers. And it's a lovely thing to see such a short race director, as Liam in the chat is not happy that we're going to Brazil. But everyone who finished the day gets points, so great to see. And Nasev yet again wins for the third time this season ahead of Hemi Dimes and Rio Harris. And we're going to head on over to the driver interviews. Daikon, if you want to head to the Tier 1 interviews channel, I'll see you over there.
Yep, will do.
And that was hello everyone.
Hello.
That was a fun race to watch. It was another win for Nasev. Nasev, how'd that race go for you?
It went good. Got lucky with the first pit stop. Came out in traffic and overtook them quite easily. The lads behind got some difficulties overtaking them, so I got a decent gap, and then I just held it and tried to let them back, but yeah.
Well, it's your third win this season. I mean, do you think you can, at the very least, catch P2 in the championship?
I don't think so. I'm just here sometimes, like in and about. Maybe I'll race Brazil. Don't think I'll race Austin or Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I'll probably just do one more race.
Well, nonetheless, it's been a great win for yourself, Nasev, and hopefully you can end your season on another win as we head to Brazil next time out. Is Brazil one of your favourite tracks?
Yeah, it is. Last season it proved it being one of my best tracks. Kindly taking a win over Hemi Dimes by a handsome margin, I think it was. So yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks. So.
Well, congrats to you, Nasev, on another win this season. Next we'll move on to Hemi Dimes, who finished in P2, was able to keep Rio behind until the end. And how did that P2 feel for you, Hemi?
Well, at the most, I'll say it wasn't exactly deserved, because Rio had his little incident, but held it, and in the end I finished second, so it was a good race.
Well, it is your fifth P2 of the season, and as we head to Brazil, is that one of your favourite tracks where we can hopefully see a Hemi Dimes win?
Absolutely not. I hate Brazil. I have such a bad record around Brazil, so...
Well, Hemi, if this gives you any extra motivation, if you get pole and win and get the fastest lap, you will take the championship lead if Cookie does not appear. So there's some motivation. Currently the gap is at 26 points between you and Cookie, so it could get tasty towards the end.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll move on to Rio Harris, who finished P3. A frustrating race for yourself, Rio. We did see that contact with Thori as you're trying to make your way through the drivers who start on the hards. It's still a podium, but how'd that race go for you, Rio?
Shit. There's no other way to fucking pull it. Says he's gonna let me through and then fucking stamps off the throttle. Right.
Well, at the very least, you still gain on Cookie, and it's still possible for drivers to catch Cookie by the end of the season. And Hemi and Rio seem to be the two favourites who could dethrone Cookie, who is trying to win his sixth championship here in WHF. But congrats on the podium, Rio, nonetheless. As we'll move on to Akko. Akko, it's been another race where I gotta say we're just frustrated because we're all like, oh come on, because things were going so well, and then when you see you again get another 10-second speed in the pit lane penalty, and then we're like, oh well, at least he's still getting like a P6 finish, and then you run out of fuel, and we're like, oh my god, will Akko ever get a top 5 finish? What's happening, Akko?
Well, it was a good race for me, but yet again, like with tyre wear, nothing I can do. I had to make the 2-stop, and coming on to the last couple of laps, I served about a 10-second penalty, gained a few more positions, got back to where before I boxed to P6, and coming up to the end, I was just most likely tyre saving, and that caused my fuel to go lower. So ended up losing fuel on the last lap, ended up losing to Ollie, and I think it was TJ.
It might have been Kevin.
Or it was one of the Aston Martin drivers.
It would have been Ty then.
Yeah, I just pretty much felt like McQueen in the first opening scene in the race when he popped his tyres. That's how I felt. Going around the final corner. It's neck and neck. Tried sticking out that tongue to try and finish in P7 so that Aston Martin couldn't get P7. But yeah, it was pretty guttering at the end of the race. But there's still Brazil next, and pretty decent around Brazil, so just gotta remember to try and put more fuel in the car.
Well, I think with that result anyway, I think
Yeah,
you may...
just be mindful.
Oh, go ahead, Declan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
I know, I
be
didn't
careful
speak
of the
so much.
speeding. Be careful of the speeding
Yeah,
in the pit lane this time.
the thing that always gets me in races is pit lanes. It's like I'll be slamming on the brake, and then because I have ABS off, like my whole car is just not stopping. I'm like screaming at the screen, just stop the fucking car, just stop.
Yeah, yeah, I know that
And it
feeling.
always gets me, so
Well, hopefully as we head to Brazil...
I'll try.
I'm just letting you know now, Echo. Brazil has such a horrible pit lane, especially on this game. You have to take it so slowly.
It's arguably the worst.
That's
so-
what got me in my league race the other week.
So please take it extra slowly in Brazil, and you will gain time. Because if I see another 10-second speed in the pit lane penalty from you, Echo, I'm going to be furious.
I'm banned. I'm banned. Objective for me next race: don't get a speed in pit lane.
I will have to give you a speeding
That's
ticket.
my objective for next race.
We might have to give you a speeding ticket at this point. But nonetheless,
Being debt.
after that result, I do think you jump a couple of positions in the championship. You were P12. I think you moved to P10 or P9. So that is something you can take into the next race.
Yeah,
But I think...
because I think points is different to how they actually are in the game, isn't it? I think you gain
Yeah.
points even if you're not in the top 10.
In WHF, it's top 16, so I'm thinking you're gaining on all the drivers around you except for TJ. I think TJ might move up ahead of you. I think he finished P5 in the end, so I think he'll move up to P9. But nonetheless, we'll move on to Thori. Thori, how'd your race go? We've seen you trying to start on the hards, and you battled with DZ Racer and Nuki for quite a number of laps. But that 3-second time penalty did cost you a position to Nuki in the end. But how'd that race go for you anyway?
Yeah, it was really fun to overtake with DZ Racer on the track. But yeah, the game, the slipstream, it is so not there. So it was really hard to overtake, but it was fun and clean.
Well, that's great to hear because we have fun here at We Have Fun. But I think with that result you may move up to P15 or potentially. I think you move up to P15 or maybe joint P15 with Womax. But still a decent result from yourself, Thorsten. But I think that is all the driver interviews. Daikon, do you have any more questions for any of the lads or any final thoughts?
No questions. But I was just going to say, good race, everyone, and hopefully next week is just as impressive, and hopefully Hungary does not repeat itself. Obviously today we didn't even have a safety car, so that was good to see.
It was the one race.
Yeah, just great racing, really.
Entertainment.
Yeah, it was genuinely...
Yeah, I suppose maybe one safety car. One safety car is probably the healthy
one of the most boring
entertainment factor,
races
but then
I've
after that it just
fucking
gets... Yeah, after 2 safety cars it gets a little chaotic, a little too much, but
Hungary
I'd say
was
1 to 2
so
safety cars is... Yeah, That was the craziest race for me to debut in commentary on ever, I will say. Like, I've been commentating in my league for nearly 2 years, and like that league has chaotic races nearly every week, but it's just crazy sometimes. Like,
Self
four
promo
safety
getting
cars
banned.
is not something I've
Self
experienced.
promo.
I wasn't self promo. No, I briefly mentioned it, but
Yep,
yeah,
you're
no,
banned.
it's no, I didn't.
But anyway,
Um,
but before we have a bit of an argument over nothing, we'll try and end the stream here. We'll try and find someone to raid on our way out. We're going to raid Liam Hammond on our way out, so make sure to give him a follow on your way over. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow to WHF. We are around
Yeah, raid Vince.
we're
Or Fabio.
15 followers away from 1,000 followers, so if you do want to drop a follow, please do. But thank you all for watching. I've been WHFRO, joined by Daikon here in the comms. Nasev is your winner here in round 9. 3 rounds to go in the Tier 1 calendar. Brazil, Kota and Abu Dhabi. And it's going to be an exciting end of the season. Who will be champion? We're still yet to find out. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.